reacts and vlogs here. And today, Devin will be reacting to a 13-year-old thinks she got away with the sister's murder. The case of Ella Bennett. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so guys, never watched this video a day in my life. I have grapes to save me from my scares, cause food is this fruit. Fruits solve my problems, so I'm now eating my problems away. Here we go. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and spread the word, please. And thank you. Let's go.
To start CPR, okay?
No, I know for a fact
This
that
is
she's
I never reacted to this
You want to
before.
go ahead and try? It
So-
might still help, okay?
No, I don't think
Hope this doesn't,
No, I
scare
don't
anybody.
think
Well, it might.
This
It might scare
is
me, honestly.
13-year-old Paris Bennett. He is refusing to perform CPR on his 4-year-old sister, Ella.
So-
The 911 operator pleads with him to try to save
That's
his
bad.
sister's life. But the real reason the older brother is not cooperating is because he is hiding the most disturbing secret. 5 hours before the 13-year-old called 911, Ella was living a peaceful, happy
That's a cute
life
baby
with her
girl.
older brother and their
Aw.
single mother, Charity Bennett. The two siblings were each other's best friends. The big
And they
brother
love
was
each other.
always looking
Guys,
out
I
for his
wanted
little
a-
sister,
I wanted a sibling,
often
by the
watching
way.
her while she slept
I would
and
love to have
protecting
a
her
sibling.
with all of his love. The little girl looked up to her big brother and trusted him with all her heart. But on the night of February
these
4th,
stories.
2007,
Hey!
everything changed. That evening, the
2007
children's
February 4th.
babysitter left early
That was
while
4
their
days
mother
before
was still
I
at
was
work,
born.
leaving the 4-year-old and the
Yeah.
13-year-old home alone. And
If
at
you guys
11:42 p.m., 911 received the most disturbing call from the big brother.
Is she bleeding anywhere?
Yeah, she's bleeding all over the bed.
As police and medical personnel rushed to the scene, the 911 operator was able to convince the older brother to perform CPR on his sister.
Put your hands on her chest and then blow 2 breaths in her mouth, okay?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But the problem is, Paris is lying to the operator. He is only pretending to give his little sister CPR.
There's a reason why organized people never seem to take notes in
No,
meetings.
not this one.
Use Otter
Man, I want this one.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The year is 1999, in the quiet town of Abilene, Texas. Charity Lee Bennett is raising her son, 6-year-old Paris Bennett. From an early age, Paris shows signs of being gifted and highly intelligent, with an IQ of 141. He excels in school and is adored by his teachers and classmates. To Charity, he is the perfect child, and they are the perfect family. But life hasn't always been easy. Before Paris was even born in 1993, his father suffered a severe psychological breakdown, leaving a young, pregnant Charity to raise a child on her own. Left without a partner by her side and with little support from her own mother, Kyla, Charity stood alone. But instead of breaking,
Oh,
she
that's
found
bad.
courage. She poured everything she had into raising her baby boy, determined to give him the love and stability she never had. In spite of their challenges, things were looking up. Charity and Paris developed a strong, beautiful bond as a family of 2. 4 years go by,
That's
and
nice.
now an unexpected new chapter is about to begin. The family is about to grow, and this time with a new baby sister for Paris. April 12th, 2002, Ella Bennett is born.
I remember putting Ella in his arms, and he was looking down at her, and I'm like waiting to see what the reaction was going to be. And he had this huge smile on his face, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, Mama, she's beautiful."
As her kids grow older, Charity can't help but notice the stark differences between her 2 children. Ella is lively, spunky, social, the kind of child who can light up an entire room. Paris, on the other hand, is more quiet and introverted. He often keeps to himself and enjoys his time alone, with reading and drawing as his hobbies. But
I'm that guy. I'm an introvert, believe it or not. So,
beneath his calm and independent nature,
I was that shy and quiet guy when I was young. Okay.
Paris
Sorry.
beautifully embraces his role as an older brother. He loves his little sister with his whole heart, and the two become inseparable.
Ella absolutely adored Paris. Anything Paris did, Ella had to do. Paris would pick her clothes out every day. He was her fashion consultant, she said.
This is Paris Bennett reporting live. This is Ella's Ball reporting live with Ella's Ball Fit. Suspect of the dirty diaper. Okay, creating dirty diaper. Ella.
Charity, now being a single mom of 2 kids, has even more on her plate. She works 2 jobs waiting tables just to make ends meet. The pressure is high, but her one goal is to do
Worked at a
everything
bar?
she can to give Paris and Ella the best life they deserve. Even with her busy work schedule, she dedicates all of her free time to her kids. Life is good for the small family, but things take a disturbing turn on February 4th, 2007. It's Super Bowl Sunday, an exciting and extremely busy night for sports fans. Charity, who works at a local sports bar, is scheduled to work a double shift to keep up with the large number of customers, so she hires a babysitter to look after the now 13-year-old Paris and 4-year-old Ella. The bar is completely packed, and Charity works hard throughout the evening, with just a few hours left until she can clock out and
Making
go back
that
home to her
manyan.
kids. But
It's
suddenly,
hard being a
cops
single
walk
mother.
into the bar and start asking the staff about Charity.
Gotta get
Around
that manyan.
midnight.
Is that Buffalo Wild Wings?
Cops are at the front door.
Dude.
They went to the manager's
That's my
office.
shit.
They called my name. They told me that my daughter had been hurt. And I was like, you need to take me to Ella now.
Charity is in a state of shock. They quickly leave the bar, and police escort her home. Her mind is racing. She attempts to stay calm, still not knowing what happened to her children, and specifically, Ella. Charity tries her best to not imagine the worst, but the cops' serious looks, combined with their unsettling quietness, sends a chill down her spine. As they finally arrive, Charity sees her house is blocked off with caution tape and surrounded by dozens of people.
Police everywhere. News trucks, neighbors. The entire street was lit up.
At that moment, Charity knows something terrible has happened. Unable to be left in the dark for any longer, she pleads with the cops, begging them to just tell her what they seem so afraid to reveal. And that's when her entire world flips upside down. Ella is dead. Charity is at a complete loss as she watches Ella's body being carried out of their family home. The sight is too much to bear.
She was in a body bag. It was zipped up to her chin. She had blood coming out of her mouth.
What the fuck?
I started screaming that I was sorry, that I wasn't there. They took her away.
And then I just remember just collapsing.
After seeing Ella's lifeless body, she finally musters up the courage to turn to the detectives and ask, "Where's my son? What happened to Paris?" They tell her Paris is already at the police station, waiting for her. She lets out a sigh of relief hearing that Paris is alive and well, but as she gets into the police car to go and reunite with her son, something feels off. There's a coldness in the air. Anxiously waiting to arrive, Charity's mind is racing with questions. And what's even more disturbing is that deep down, something
But it's like, let's get deeper. Let's get deeper.
about this moment feels oddly familiar to Charity. An unnerving feeling history is repeating itself. And that's because 30 years ago, when Charity was only a child, her family was torn apart by murder.
Have you ever wanted to see your home
Bro,
from space?
all right.
With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom.
Pissing me off.
His own feeling history is repeating itself. And that's because 30 years ago, when Charity was only a child, her family was torn apart by murder. Cobb County, Georgia, 1980. Charity was just 6 years old when her father and mother, James and Kyla, ran a booming trucking empire. They dealt with national shipping and cargo, an industry bringing in billions per year. But behind their seemingly perfect life and success, their marriage was deteriorating. After years of chaos, their volatile relationship ended
there
in divorce,
comes the
leaving their only child, Charity,
woman abuse.
caught in the middle of their battles. However, Charity's parents surprisingly reconnected on March 9th, 1980,
Oh,
and decided to
or
fly
not.
to Las Vegas, remarrying in a whirlwind ceremony.
And
For a
remarried,
second,
okay.
Charity hoped their
That's a
life would find stability once again,
daredeviling
but on
decision.
March 11th, 1980, less than 3 days after they exchanged their vows, her father, James, was found dead in their family home. When authorities arrived on the scene,
What the
they
fuck?
noted 3 gunshot wounds to his head.
Wait, yo, this shit's coming at me way too fast. Hold on.
When authorities, but on March 11th, for a second, Charity hoped their life would find stability once again. But on March 11th, 1980, less than 3 days after they exchanged their vows, her father, James, was
was
found
less
dead
than
in their
3
family
days?
home. When authorities arrived on the scene, they noted 3 gunshot wounds to his head, heart, and back. James' murder was clearly a targeted attack, and suspicions immediately
What
fell on
the
the newlywed, Charity's own mother, Kyla. Speculation grew when
The
Kyla's name
there's
was
no
put
way.
back in James's will
The mother
after their
killed-
sudden remarriage, because this meant that if anything happened to him, Kyla would inherit control of the entire company, along with his fortune. Investigators also considered
Now, see, that is strange and that is weird because I feel like this is what people would do. Either death or no death. People will do anything for more money. So I feel like in the mother's case, we won't know, but in my opinion, I think the mom killed her own husband to make more money off the company of their little trucking company, little empire that they made. But now, she went all to herself. Because some people think that the
whether
world
his murder
revolves around them. And I think she generally thought that the world revolved around her.
was maybe a professional hit tied to organized crime, and from there, the whispers grew louder. Rumors swirled that Kyla had allegedly paid $50,000 to have him executed. Detectives were quick to question her about the murder contract, and Kyla admitted she had asked about it, but claimed it was only out of curiosity. Without any other leads, Kyla
that's
quickly
fucking
became the main
psychotic.
suspect, and prosecution spent the next 4 months building a case against her before finally taking her to trial. For 11
She should be put on the deathbed. Oh, I'm sorry.
days, jurors listened to all the allegations and the evidence, or lack thereof, and the verdict came back as
Is that too
not
far?
guilty. Kyla walked out of court a free woman. In the eyes of many, she had beaten the odds. The killer was never officially found, and the weapon never recovered. Kyla returned to her life of luxury. Now in complete control of their business empire, she began raising Charity on her own. After her mother's acquittal, Charity grew up haunted by the loss of her father. Everyone around her believed that her own mother was her father's killer, and as much as everyone
would
tried to
assume
shield
so.
Charity from that possibility,
There
it
was so
followed
much
her.
conspiracy
Her
going
classmates
on.
would taunt her over and over
So
again.
I'd assume
Kids
so.
would come up and say, "Oh, I hear your mommy killed your daddy."
It was a constant presence in my
Wow.
life.
And you had to
Meanwhile,
live with
at
that.
home, Charity felt neglected by her mother. With her father's absence,
your
her
life.
mother, Kyla, fell into a lavish and reckless lifestyle, drinking and doing drugs, all while running the
Damn,
family
smack you in the
business,
mouth with a body.
leaving no time for little Charity. Kyla continues insisting that she did not murder her husband, Charity's father, and that she had been framed, but it didn't matter what the truth was,
Well, like,
because the
there's
relationship
so many people
between
saying the
mother
same
and
thing.
daughter remained strained.
Then
As the years went by,
It's like-
Charity
it's-
focused on her
it should
education,
be seeming
eventually
obvious to the
graduating from
court.
high school with honors. But in spite of her achievements, the love she craved from her mother was still missing. Beneath her calm exterior, she was hiding a secret. The pressure, the loss of her father, and the years of loneliness finally caught up to her, and she desperately looked for a way to silence the noise around her. For the next 4 years, Charity would struggle with an addiction to drugs, but at age 18, she decided to start fighting back and got clean. With a new lease on life, Charity got back on her feet and obtained a university degree in family development psychology. Her quest for purpose grew even stronger when she found out she was pregnant with a baby boy. Then and there, a new chapter had begun. Paris was born, and later, her baby girl, Ella. Even though motherhood gave Charity a second chance, she was never able to fully move on and heal from the trauma she went through as
It
a
really
young
was
girl.
deja
The
vu for
relationship
real.
between Charity and her own mom, Kyla, remained complicated,
like,
and the pain caused
it
by her father's
gets
death
worse,
echoed throughout the years. Now,
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Like, are we being dead ass?
the
bro?
same pain is back and stronger than ever. Decades later, on the night of February 4th, 2007, as she kisses Ella's forehead for the last time before the little girl gets taken away in a body bag. Hours after Ella's body is taken away for examination, Charity sits in the back of the cop car and waits anxiously as they pull up to the police station. The tension is palpable, and she doesn't know what to expect.
Wow.
Once they arrive, she is led into an interrogation room, and now, the first time since Ella's death, she sees her son, Paris, standing at the far end of the room.
And when I saw him, the only thing I felt was so happy to see my child. Because he was the only one left. I started hugging him and just cried forever. And then I realized at some point that he wasn't hugging me back. And that's when everything stopped making sense.
Paris's coldness toward his own mother and his sister's death feels deeply unnerving to Charity. Something is not right at all. As detectives take
the
over and
fuck?
begin investigating, they have no idea how disturbing the crime and Paris really are. That night, at around 10:30 p.m., about 2 hours before the 911 call, the children were at home when Paris suddenly pulled the babysitter aside and convinced her to go home early, claiming that their mom was coming home sooner than what was planned, and that at 13 years old, he was responsible enough to take care of Ella until she arrived. Both of these things were untrue. A few minutes later, the two children were left alone in the house. Things quickly escalated.
Abilene 911.
Hello?
Abilene 911, go ahead.
I accidentally killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
No, I know I did. I woke up and I was hallucinating.
You were hallucinating?
Yes, and I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her.
Seemingly frantic and in between tears, Paris appeared helpless to the operator on the other end of the line.
Bro, come on now, bro. That's like... It's like, how do you wake up hallucinating? You know what I mean?
She urged the teen boy to perform CPR, a suggestion he initially resisted, insisting it was too late.
What I want you to do is take her off the bed.
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because I...
Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help because...
Come on, Paris, work with me.
The operator is forced to plead with him, as she believed time was running out for the little girl, but unbeknownst to
It's the
her,
fact
it was
that-
already too late.
Paris,
He's lying through all
take
this.
her off the bed and put her on the floor.
Like,
Okay, hold on.
Buddy was not
What I want you to
hallucinating, bro.
do is I want you to put your hands on her chest.
Like, there's no way you just thought, you know what, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna kill my sister. Like, what? There's no way. Like, that's lots of life that's lots of life lost. Best believe.
Okay? And I want you to push 30 times. I want you to count.
The operator continued to guide him through the procedure while waiting for the officers to arrive, but once they did, they found Ella lying face down, meaning there were no signs that anyone performed CPR on her. The entire time Paris had been on the phone, he had only been pretending. He never actually tried to save his sister's life.
I went to see him that night. I
That
was
shit's
like,
crazy.
I don't believe you anymore. I think you killed your sister on purpose. All of a sudden, he became a completely different person. It's like he no longer had to keep up this act anymore. He looked at me and he said, "Y'all are so stupid." He laughed at me.
Growing up, Paris always seemed like a gifted, Quiet boy and good-mannered child, caring and looking out for his sister.
He
But
does look
now,
kind of weird.
Charity looks back in horror and wonders if there was more than met the eye with Paris, hints of strange behavior, or clues that he could have been capable of something like this.
Paris, what is your problem? People that have had siblings, they tussle, they wrestle. Sometimes you have to pull them apart. 95% of the time, they got along well.
But despite any issues she had with Paris, she never thought he could ever harm his little sister.
Man, this is crazy.
February 10th, 2007, Ella's funeral is being held at a local church. Family, friends, and members of the community gather to say goodbye, to remember a beautiful little girl
6 days.
gone far too soon.
No. Back. Gone way too soon. 4? The sister at 4? I don't even think the brother was at her funeral either.
She was a pistol, and she always said
Man.
what was ever on her mind. She brought life into everybody.
There's no
The small town
way.
of Abilene, Texas, is in complete shock. 4-year-old Ella Bennett's horrific murder made no sense. Charity doesn't know what to do. Not only did she lose her daughter, but her son is the one incarcerated for the murder. While struggling with her grief,
It's
all
deserved,
eyes
though.
are on her. To the community, it was Charity's fault anything like this had ever happened. It was her fault for creating a monster.
Wait, what? It is us!
I remember
Why are we blaming the mother for creating a monster, though?
people discussing.
It was her fault for creating a monster.
I remember people discussing what kind of books did Paris read and what kind of video games did he play. I believe Charity got the brunt of that because even if it's a book that he's
I
reading,
don't
well,
think
who
we
got him
should
the
blame
book?
it on
And
the
even
mother.
if it's a video game that he's playing, well, who allowed him to play that game?
Charity took a lot of heat for her situation. People were very cruel to
Or
her.
it might have been her, man.
She'd be in a shock. Oh, you're the mother that, oh, your son, and
In the midst of the community's criticism,
There's no
Charity
way
was broken.
your son
Her
would
first
just
love,
immediately,
Paris, just took
like,
the life of her
just
second
go
love,
through a full
Ella.
mood
She
swing.
feels as though she's lost both her children, but the reality is, Paris is still alive, and she is still his mother, despite the cruel betrayal. But just like everyone in the town, Charity never saw this coming. Charity needs answers. She needs to know what's wrong with her son to ensure she gets justice for her daughter.
I had a psychopath checklist youth version administered to Paris. And
He's
then
definitely a
reevaluated.
psychopath.
His assessor told me, you deserve to know that your son is a sociopath.
But everything only gets harder once
That
Charity starts
is
preparing for the trial. With her
crazy.
4-year-old Ella dead and her only living child being the one to take her life, she has to face the fact that by being there for each of her children, she risks failing the other.
When I would go talk to a district attorney, I had
Wow.
to be Ella's mother. When I went to talk to a defense attorney, I had to be Paris's mother. And if I tried to put Paris and Ella together in my brain, I really got close to insanity.
The trial begins nearly a month after the tragic event. The messiness only worsens when she finds herself standing in the middle of the courtroom.
At one point, sat in the middle because I can't choose sides. They're both my children.
Deep inside,
But it's like-
Charity faces the reality.
You gotta take accountability. You gotta take accountability. I give up. To your, like, about your child, especially your son. Like, your son, mind you, does not give a fuck about both of y'all. Talking about none of y'all. You brought him in this world, and I'm sure you're able to take him out. It's either you or it's them jail cells.
That there's nothing she can do to bring Ella back. She realizes that she must make one of the most difficult choices she could as a mother, and in that moment, she chooses to stand by Paris' side, refusing to abandon him. But now, She doesn't see him as the innocent boy.
But he abandoned you.
She once
The
raised,
mom's
but as
pissing
the
me
murderer
off.
he has become. He needs to be accountable for his actions, and she decides to love him in a new way, not trying to save him from justice, but making sure he faces it.
He
and
still
gets
looks like
psychiatric help.
After Paris killed his sister, I was not trying to
That boy still look he'll air a house out, bro. He'll air a bitch out.
get
I'm
Paris
talking about.
off. I wanted to
talking
get
about.
Paris help.
On August 15,
I'm talking about
2007, after months of trial, Paris pleads
Man,
guilty
that's
to capital
crazy.
murder in juvenile court.
The mom
He's
should know
given the
better.
maximum sentence for a juvenile, 40 years. With Paris now
40?
spending
Only
most of
40?
his adult life in prison, Charity makes a promise.
I told him that I
Only
was
40 years
always
in prison.
going to love him no matter what. And then I also promised him that I was always going to do the best job I could to be his mother.
Promises are meant to be broken sometimes.
For as long as
Honestly,
Charity
that
could
promise
remember,
shouldn't matter
her life
to the
had been
mom
marked
anymore.
by tragedy.
He
but
abandoned-
now,
he
she
killed
chooses a
your-
different
he
path.
killed
She
your
chooses to
child.
heal by facing the truth.
Even though, yet he is her child, you still bear to kill the youngest one. But we're still standing on this.
I'm tired of the history.
That's
repeating
crazy.
Itself.
What?
I have been able to forgive Paris for
He
the
graduated?
worst thing imaginable, but I'm never going to be comfortable with it. In order
grade,
to
right?
have
8th grade?
my own sense of peace, to have integrity, it's time to stop the pattern.
Now, Charity is determined to support other families going through trauma.
The night that Ella died, I made her a promise that something meaningful would come out of her death.
So I set up the Ella Foundation to prevent violence by sharing our story.
Charity is an advocate for children's mental illness rehabilitation, speaking loudly about getting proper help and support for kids that might be heading down the wrong path due to an unmanaged mental illness. She does everything in her power to make sure that what happened to her family never happens to anyone
That's
ever
good for
again.
Mom.
Ella's memory continues to heal the wounds of tragedy that defined the Bennetts for nearly half a century. And through Charity's voice, Ella continues to offer a second chance to families who have lost hope in healing.
You're right that it will never bring Ella back, but it does keep Ella alive. I can't change Paris today, but maybe by doing this, I can help
Definitely
with
make her more
changing somebody
memorable.
else's child.
Can definitely help other people. Most definitely. Man, that is crazy. Long story short, the brother killed the sister. But the brother lied to the police officer saying that he was giving CPR to the sister. And he wasn't giving CPR to the sister. So then he decided, well, I woke up hallucinating and I killed my sister. I don't get it. That shit really bugged me. That's just, and then the mom just being there after that, and he pretty much abandoned his mom's love for him, but the mom said, that's crazy. That's insane. I wouldn't do that personally. Like, if my son, let's say I had a son, and Buddy abandoned my love, and then he killed one of my kids, and he'll be like, you're so fucking stupid, and said all this stuff about you. Yeah, you raised them, but it's like, you didn't raise them to be that way. So if they're that way, you let them be that way until they get their consequences outside of things. And he obviously got his consequence, obviously, but the mom still wants to be beside him, though. Do you, Mom? But it's like, man, that's not a good decision. It's not a good idea. But do you? I mean, got no problem. But anyway, that'll be the end of this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And question of the day is, would you kill a family member? If so, why?